Hello everyone, good evening. I hope you all are healthy and happy. And here we are with the second part of our Olympiad Marathon. So guys, we have already been discussing many PYQs from your Olympiad questions from biology, and there has been one session that we have already conducted, and because of your demand we have come with another one. So this is the second Olympiad PYQ Marathon only on PrepMed Foundation channel. So guys, without any further delay, let's start with our session. So the first question, in fact, I have mentioned 31. I have mentioned 31 because if you remember, in the previous marathon, we have discussed almost around 30 questions. So 30 questions were already being done. So we are going to start, discuss the rest of the questions here. So I hope you all of you are ready, and I would like all of you to participate in answering, and please answer in the live chat box section. So let's solve the PYQs together. The first question that they have asked is refer to the given table and select the correct option. Okay, so here they have given PQR. P is a type of disease that usually spreads through contaminated food and water. So you have to find out which of the following disease spreads through contaminated food and water. Not through community, they are non-communicable, they spread through direct contact, none of them, only spread through the food and water. So tuberculosis, no, not food and water. Tuberculosis usually spread through, it's an airborne disease, okay? It's an airborne disease, tuberculosis. So it can't usually spread through contaminated food and water. It would spread through aerosol or droplet infection. So of course this can't be it. Hepatitis B also can't spread through contaminated food and water. Hepatitis B is again blood, it's an STD, it's a type of STD. So direct blood contact, direct blood transfusion or sexual intercourse, exchange of body fluid might transfer hepatitis B from one infected person to a non-infected person. The third, that is C, is AIDS. AIDS is exactly like the hepatitis B mode of transmission. So that would also through bodily fluids exchange from an infected person to a non-infected person. Then they said typhoid. Yes. So P, typhoid does spread through contaminated food and water. We also call it as feco-oral method. We also call it as feco-oral route. So we know that D is going to be the right answer. So option D is going to be the right answer of this question. We know because of P. But let's read Q and R as well. Q is a type of disease which always spreads through direct contact. So chickenpox, yes, it can spread through direct contact, right? From if I am in closer contact with an infected person or using the material or clothes or anything that the infected person might have used, I would contract that disease. Okay. Followed by, we can also see here that they have mentioned R is a non-communicable. That means it can't pass from one person to another person just by touch, just by sharing items, sharing needles or blood transfusion. No. It is a deficiency disorder in this case, that is goiter. Goiter is a deficiency disorder that is caused due to hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, if I am talking about a simple goiter, but if I'm talking about Graves disease, so that could be again due to hypersecretion. So most of the cases, if I'm talking about simple goiter, so simple goiter is because of hypothyroidism. Okay, so it is a deficiency disease. It's a hormonal deficiency or hormonal imbalance disease, you can say. All right, moving on to the next question. The next question that they have asked is question number 32. Refer to the given dichotomous key and select the incorrect option regarding organism P, Q, R, and S. Okay, so animals with cellular level of body organization. So animal with cellular level of body organization, obviously P is going to be porifera. There is no other option left. So of course it is going to be porifera. So do we have porifera here? Okay, we have to read out here. Body of organism P could contain numerous small pores called ostia and a large opening called osculum on the top. This is correct. Okay, they are asking you to find out the incorrect one. So this is correct. Then they have asked animal with tissue, organ or organ system level of organization. We have to go to 2. So let's go to 2. 2 is this. In 2, A suggests animal possessing bilateral symmetry. So you have to go to 3A. So the 3A is this one. True coelom is present. So animal possessing bilateral symmetry with a true coelom, we also call it as eucoelomate animal. Eucoelomate animal. Who is that? Organism Q could possess what? Slits at some stage. Okay, so Q is here. We have to again follow down to coelom present, go to 4A. 4A is this. Notochord is present. Okay, so eucoelomate, notochord present, and animal possess bilateral symmetry. So that means we are talking about a chordata here. It is a chordata. So chordata has notochord present in them. You won't see chordata in a non-chordate, right? Notochord, the presence of notochord is a characteristic feature of only chordata, not non-chordate, right? So we can see here organism Q could possess gill slits at some stage of its life. Yes. Those who are chordata, they have these 4 general features. First feature, there should be presence of notochord. The second feature, there should be presence of a ventral, presence of a dorsal nerve cord. Okay, dorsal single nerve cord. The third feature is the presence of a post-caudal tail or post-anal tail at some stage of life. That means during embryonic development. And the last is presence of nothing but pharyngeal gill slits, and that too at certain stage of life. Pharyngeal gill slits. At what stage of life? The embryonic life. You won't see it in an adult. Only in embryonic lifetime you would see that. So of course Q is a chordata. So this is also correct. Then we would go to R. It is represented by medusa form. So medusa form can be seen in Cnidaria. Cnidaria would show a medusa form and also a polyp form sometimes, but they have mentioned only medusa form. So we can say that the body of organism S, okay, so they're asking S now. Organism R could possess nematocysts. This is correct because R they are saying is a Cnidaria, and the feature of Cnidaria, the most peculiar feature of Cnidaria is the presence of nematocysts. Nematocysts are called as stinging cells. That's why jellyfish, which is one of the example of Cnidaria, they have this stinging cell present throughout their tentacles. That's why it stings. It is acting as a defense on offense organ, you can say. So it helps to protect themselves from any kind of predator and also help them to catch a prey and hypnotize a prey before they can consume it. All right. So of course it is going to be presence of nematocyst, which is the stinging cell. The presence of stinging cells is one of the special and peculiar feature of Cnidaria. So this is also correct. So we know that C is incorrect. C is incorrect. Why? F they are suggesting it is represented by polyform. F is represented by polyform. So who is that polyform? The body of organism S could be differentiated to head, visceral mass and ventral foot. Absolutely not. This is suggesting a mollusca. This particular sentence is suggesting the characteristic feature of mollusca, not Cnidaria. You won't see polyp in mollusca. No, you would see polyp in Cnidaria only. So F must be a Cnidaria. It can't be a mollusk. So we have found the answer, option number C. I hope you have also made correct here. Now moving on to the next question, and this is refer to the given table, select the correct option regarding it. Okay. RBC, if you take RBC and you put it in a solvent that is having ringless solution, what would be the result? X. X would be, in this case, if I am dividing this into, suppose, 3 cases, okay, because there are 3 cases that is suggested. One is ringless solution, one they are saying concentrated salt solution, and one is water. So I'm going to write X, I'm going to write Y, I'm going to write Z. If I'm talking about ringless solution is isotonic to RBC. It is isotonic to RBC. I can simply write it here that this is isotonic to RBC. Ringus solution is isotonic. Isotonic means the solution and the RBC. If I draw an RBC here, suppose this is an RBC, this is the RBC here. I'm going to draw RBC everywhere. So RBC and Ringus solution having same amount of electrolytes and H2O. They have same amount of Na plus, that is electrolyte, and H2O. I am writing Na plus, that doesn't mean only Na plus is present. There are multiple salts present. Isotonicity is when the concentration of these salts are balanced inside the cell and also outside. So if it is balanced, there is no need for Na plus or H2O to go anywhere or move anywhere. They would remain the same. So you would see that the RBC would be normal. So X is normal. So we have two options with normal. Now if I move to X, Y, sorry. So they are saying concentrated salt solution. So concentrated salt solution would of course be hypertonic. Hypertonic to whom? Hypertonic to the RBC. So here you would see there is lots and lots of number of these electrolytes present in the salt concentrated solution, of course, but H2O is very minimum. So what would happen in this case as compared to the RBC? RBC has more H2O. RBC would have more H2O. More H2O, more H2O, more H2O than outer. Inside the RBC, the Na plus solution salt concentration would be normal. So what would happen? Because the solution is hypertonic than the RBC, the water molecule would move out. As the water molecule would move out, what would happen to the RBC? The RBC would lose the water molecule and the RBC would shrink. The RBC would shrink. So this is what would happen to the RBC, the shrunken RBC. We can call it as a shrunken RBC because they are losing H2O. They are losing H2O and the amount of H2O is losing in here. They're going out into the solution. So you would have a shrunken RBC. So we found the answer. It is going to be B. Anyway, it is going to be B. But let's read the rest. That is water. So Z is water, and water solution would of course have more and more amount of water because it is water, absolutely, but it is actually hypotonic to the RBC. It is hypotonic to the RBC. So water would have less salt concentration and more water concentration as compared to the RBC. So this is again the RBC. RBC would have again more and more amount of salt concentration as compared to the water molecule and less H2O. So what would happen here? H2O would move in high to low, always high to low. As a result of which, what we are going to see? We are going to see that the RBC molecule has swollen up because they are now taking in more and more amount of H2O. So H2O amount would increase in the RBC. H2O amount would increase in RBC and you would get a swollen one. So B is going to be the right answer. I hope you understood this. I hope this is easier for you to understand. Right? Now come on, solve with me. Moving on to the next question, question number 34. Here they are asking, select the pair of vitamins manufactured in human body. So what are the vitamins that are manufactured in human body? So we have D. Yes, D is manufactured in human body when? See, vitamin D would be manufactured in our body when we are exposed to sunlight. When the sunlight falls on our skin, that would activate the, exposure to sunlight. The UV rays would synthesize vitamin D in our skin cell. So we can simply write here that they are synthesized in skin upon exposure to sunlight. Or here we can just simply write sunlight means UV rays. Of course, the sunlight would carry the UV rays. Moving on to the K now. K, yes, K as well. You can see that K can also be synthesized by certain friends of ours. Our body cannot directly synthesize vitamin K. It depends upon certain gut bacteria, certain friends in our body called as gut bacteria, symbiotic bacteria. So we can simply write here that vitamin K, they are synthesized by gut bacteria. So they would help us to synthesize this. But apart from that, the rest of them, that is vitamin A, vitamin B complex, the entire vitamin B complex, then vitamin C, they are all need to be consumed through diet. Our body can't produce it. So we have to consume through diet. We have to eat it. For example, vitamin A you can get in case of carrots, in green leafy vegetables, etc. Okay. So here, similarly with the C as well, we do not have an enzyme that helps us to produce ascorbic acid, that is vitamin C. So for that, we have to consume it through diet. All right. So they cannot be synthesized. They have to be consumed through diet. So they are all essential vitamins. Now moving on to the next question. This is our question number 34. Moving on to the next question now, that is 35 question. Which of the following is correct path of oxygen in human during inhalation? So when you are inhaling, at what pathway or which pathway is followed by your air? Let's see. The pathway that is followed by air would be, if I draw here, suppose this is the human body here. Okay, let's imagine. First, we would see this is the external nostril. All right, external nostril. Then we have the nasal chamber. This is the nasal chamber. Then there is internal nares. Then there is the pharynx. The pharynx is where the mouth also opens. It's the common passage of both mouth, food as well as air. And then it would move into the trachea. Somewhere here the trachea is present. We can draw the trachea like this because trachea has tracheal rings. So suppose this is the trachea here. Okay, this is the opening of the trachea and there is an epiglottis present. We know that. We have already learned that there is an epiglottis present here. All right. So let's see, we have an external nostril, we have nasal chamber, we have internal nostril, we have pharynx. Does it match with any of them? Nostril, nasal chamber or nasal cavity? Yes. Then pharynx, then trachea, then bronchi, then bronchioles, and finally alveoli. So option number A is the right answer here. For question number 35, option number A is absolutely right. Moving on to the next question now. Question number here 36. Okay, let's see 36 now. Select the incorrect statement. The number of times heart beats in a minute is called as heart rate. Absolutely right. Your heart rate is around 72 beats per minute. 72 beats per minute. This is the amount of time our heart beats. So this is correct. You are supposed to find out the incorrect one. Let's see. The circulation of blood from heart to lungs and from lungs to heart called systemic. Absolutely wrong. Whenever the lungs is mentioned, the lungs are mentioned, I have to call it as pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary circulation. See, when you talk about this type of circulation, let me draw it for you and explain it to you. Let's imagine that this is our lungs. Okay, this is our lungs. That is the alveoli. Somewhere here your heart is present. Suppose this is our heart. Okay, this is our heart here. All right, and this is our body. Now, see here. The blood vessel that carries blood from body to heart, we call it as vena cava, right? We call it as the vena cava. Then from here the blood would flow in here, that is deoxygenated blood. Then from the right ventricle, the blood would carry to the lungs. We call it as the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery. Then from the lungs, the blood that comes in here in the left atrium, oxygenated blood, we call it as nothing but the pulmonary vein. This is called as the pulmonary vein. Then from the lungs, the same blood comes down here, and then from here it would be carried to the body via aorta. Oxygenated blood. Now, if I divide here, if I divide this entire thing, when the blood is carried from heart to lungs and then lungs to heart, this part is called as the pulmonary circulation. So this upper part would be called as pulmonary circulation because lungs is involved here. Pulmonary circulation. So in pulmonary circulation, you see the blood carried from right ventricle to the lungs, from lungs to the left atrium. That is where it ends. And systemic circulation, the below part would be called as systemic circulation because here you see the blood would be carried from where? From the, you can see from the body to, or let's start here, from left ventricle to the body through aorta. So start from left ventricle through aorta to the body, then body to the right atrium via vena cava. That is systemic circulation. So that's why this sentence is wrong. It is a pulmonary circulation and not our systemic circulation. So this is where it wrong. So we have already found the incorrect one. We have found the answer, option number B. All right, but let's read the rest of them. Nephrons purify blood and remove excess salt and urea from it. Absolutely right. That is the function of nephron. Our excretory waste material is what? Our excretory waste material is urea. So we convert ammonium ions into urea in our liver, and then from the liver, the urea is carried to the kidney via blood. Then the blood is filtered and urea is partially removed from your body. And then the less urea containing blood is brought back to your heart or brought back to your body from the kidney after removal. So this is right. When the transpiration rate is higher than the rate of absorption of water from the root here, the plant droops down. Yes. See, we know that the plant continuously lose water through transpiration. So suppose if this is the plant here, let's imagine that this is a plant here. Okay, this is a leaf of a plant. Okay, this is the leaf of a plant and this is the root of the plant. Okay, this is the root of the plant. So if I see here, the plant would be losing water through stomata. Through the stomata in the leaf, they would lose H2O, and this process is called as transpiration. This is called as transpiration, right? Because they are losing water through the leaf, but they are also absorbing water from the root, right? So they are also absorbing water from the root, absorbing through the roots. This is the root. Okay, so this absorption of water through the root and transpiration is a continuous cycle that keeps on happening. But if this transpiration rate, is equals to absorption rate of water. So this process is absorption. This is absorption. So its absorption rate and transpiration rate is same. Nothing would happen to the plant. The plant would be healthy. So this would lead to, this thing would lead to healthy plant. Healthy plant. Healthy, turgid plant. Turgid plant. But what would happen if the transpiration rate is more? So if transpiration rate is higher than the absorption rate, so transpiration rate is higher than absorption rate. So the plant is losing water faster than it can absorb. So what would happen? The plant is losing water, no? So what would happen? The plant would lose turbidity. The plant loses turgor pressure or turgidity. So as it loses the turgor pressure, what would happen? The plant would immediately start drooping down. It would become flaccid, isn't it? So turgor pressure is lost and the drooping happens. Drooping happens. Drooping or flaccidity. The plant would become flaccid. The leaf would become very wilted. It would lose water, etc. So this thing is also correct. Absolutely right. This part is. Moving on to question number 38 now. They are asking in question number 38 that which of the given statement is not a function of plasma membrane. By the way, have you guys noticed that in your Olympiad examination, every time they are giving incorrect, not, false. So these are the keywords you have to find out. Okay, so remember what they're asking: incorrect or correct, true or false, not or is. All right, moving on, let's see now. It maintains individuality of the cell plasma membrane. Of course, every cell has a boundary, and that plasma membrane is maintaining the boundary and helping keeping the originality of a cell intact or integrity of a cell intact, right? Followed by it is impermeable, therefore it prevents cell content to mix with its environment. No, it is not impermeable. This is wrong. We found the answer, but let me tell you that plasma membrane is semi-permeable. It is semi-permeable. It would allow certain things to pass, not all. Certain things would pass between cell or from one cell to outside the cell, and certain things won't be allowed. That is how they are, preventing cell content to mix with its environment. Not completely impermeable. That is wrong. Okay. So it is semi-permeable. Its junction help to keep the cells together. Yes, we call it as desmosomes. Desmosomes. So desmosomes would keep the adjacent cells together. So suppose if we have a cell here and there is another cell right beside it. All right. So this is the desmosome that is keeping the cells together. Cell junctions, attaching them together, okay, fixing them together. It protects the cells from injury. Of course, that's what plasma membrane does. It protects, it creates a boundary. All right. Moving on to the next question now, question number 39. Given below are names of few cell organelles. How many of these are present only in plant cells? Okay, let's see here. Do we have ribosome only in plant? No. Ribosome is present both in plant as well as cell. So animal, sorry. So you can see ribosome in both animal and plant cell. So you can see it in both animal and plant cells. Let's see now, vacuole. Is vacuole present in only plant cell? No. It is also present in both animal and plant cell, but in case of plant cell, they have a large vacuole inside the cell. Animal cells do not have such large vacuoles. Certain cells in animal cells have small vacuoles, smaller vacuoles, such as in case of adipocyte, the fat storing cells. All right. Moving on to, let's now see, of course, this also can't be an answer. Then mitochondria, that is also present in both plant as well as animal. So mitochondria is also present in both animal and plant cells. Now followed by plastids. Yes, plastids are present only in plant cell. That is absolutely correct. So plastids, they are present only in plant and algae. So plant cells and algae cells would have plastids such as leucoplastid, chromoplast, leucoplast, chromoplast, chloroplast, etc. Okay, so this is correct, one of them. And let's see now lysosome. No, lysosome also is not only present in plant but also in animal. Especially in animal, you would see lysosomes. They are again mainly in animals, but in plants, the lytic vacuoles would act as a lysosome. So they have it, right? So mainly in animal cells. So let me write it here, mainly in animal cells, but in plant, lytic vacuoles act as lysosome, right? Okay, so we have found our answer, and that is only one of them. Only one is correct, only one present in the plant cell. Moving on to the next question, question number 40. Select the option which correctly identifies P to T. So let's see here. Arthropoda, excretory organ. So excretory organ could be green gland. Yes, in crustacea. Crustacea also your arthropoda, they belong to arthropoda. Malpighian tubule, absolutely. Insects are your arthropoda, right? Antennary gland is the other name of green gland. So that is also present in crustacea only. So these three could be the answer for P, but let's see Q. Arthropoda circulatory system is not closed, so we can easily remove A. So it is open type, so these could be the answer. Then R nephridia. Who has nephridia? Annelida has nephridia. Yes. Porifera, no, porifera won't show nephridia. So this is also gone. This thing is also gone. We have already found our answer, but let's see. S, nephridia, yes, some mollusca also have nephridia, especially Neopilina. Neopilina would show the presence of nephridia. It is a type of mollusca. Okay, it is also a connecting link between Annelida and mollusca because of presence of this nephridia in them. Okay, moving on. Now circulatory system is open type, of course. Okay, that is done. T, nephridia open, and respiratory system is via ctenidia. Ctenidia are gills. They are feather-like gills present in mollusca. Feather-like gills present in mollusca. That helps them in case of both respiration and also sometimes removal of excretory waste, both of them. So we already found our answer for question number 40. Moving on to question number 41 for all of you. Refer to the given set of secondary sexual characteristics. So you have to see that these are all the secondary sexual characteristics given, and you have to find out how many of these are related to females only. Let's see. Enlargement of breast, yes, it is female only. All right, this is the symbol that we use for female. All right, development of Adam's apple, no, that is in case of males only. Adam's apple is the prominent overgrowth of the thyroid cartilage that is only present in males after puberty. So that is grown due to testosterone effect. But as female, we have a thyroid cartilage, but we do not have testosterone. So that prominent growth, enlargement of some part of the thyroid cartilage is absent in us. All right, deepening of voice, no, deepening of voice happens in case of male. In female, the voice becomes high-pitched voice. So in our case, the voice becomes high-pitched voice. Now, growth of pubic hair. Growth of pubic hair is in case of both male as well as female. So I can't consider this under here. If they are asking females only, it is not female only, it is present in both. Widening of pelvis, yes, widening of pelvis you can see only in female. In female, the pelvis is much more wider. Okay, if suppose this is the pelvis, let's imagine that this is the pelvis of a female. Okay, this is how the pelvis is actually present. Okay, and in case of male, if you compare it with a male have a much more elongated and stronger pelvis. Okay, something like this. So they have an elongated pelvis. Okay, elongated pelvis. So this is in case of a male, this is in case of a female. So they have much more wider, they have much more narrower and longer. So how many of these are related to females only, and only 2. So option number C is going to be the right answer. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 42. Okay, so this is a direction-based question. So you have to read the condition that is given here, and you have to solve question number 42 and question number 43. So let's read the direction. They have given Sukriti and Priya are good friends and study in first standard of a reputed school. On a hot summer day, while they both were playing in the school playground, Priya felt uncomfortable. Who felt uncomfortable? Priya. Okay, and sat down. After some time, she developed acute headache and high fever. Her legs became stiff and stopped moving. That means they're talking about paralysis in one of the leg. Okay, she also felt some stiffness in her neck. Soon she became unconscious. We are actually talking about polio here. Polio it always affects the CNS. It affects the central nervous system. So because it affects the central nervous system, so along with high fever, along with acute headache, along with stiffness in the neck and stiffness in the leg, including paralysis, that's why it is stiff. This is actually, and also loss of consciousness. These are the symptom of polio. And polio, it can be contracted, again, fecal-oral method, fecal-oral route. It is from contaminated food and water to the healthy person. It can be entered like that. That is the mode of transmission in this case. So they're asking for question number 42. Identify the disease which Priya has contracted along with its causative agent and mode of transmission. So I've told you it is polio. Polio is caused by a virus called as poliovirus. And the name of polio also called as poliomyelitis because it is affecting the nervous system, affecting the muscles that helps in movement, isn't it? Neck muscle, the leg muscle, etc. Okay, fine. And of course, it is via fecal-oral route because via contaminated food and water. From contaminated food and water. Contaminated food and water. Now, moving on to the next question, question number 43, based on the same observation, the same condition that we just studied. So they are asking, what could be the probable reason for Sukriti not being affected by pathogen of this disease? So Priya was suffering from that disease, right? Both of them were playing on a hot summer day in their playground in the school, of course, but Priya got affected, but Sukriti did not. Why? Sukriti, immune system has already encountered the weakened pathogen. Yes, polio vaccines have been given to small kids because they are in first standard. That means they must be 6 years to 7 years old, 5 to 7, let's imagine. So if they're 5 to 7, that means they have already taken their polio doses. Sukriti especially. Priya might have missed a dose, or Priya might have never taken a polio vaccine. We call it as an oral polio vaccine, right? Oral polio vaccine. So Sukriti took this oral polio vaccine, and oral polio vaccine contains weakened pathogen of poliovirus. A weakened pathogen means, so the drop that they used to feed us, no, when we were kids, that drop contained weakened variety of the poliovirus. That means the virus is there. They are not feeding you the virus directly. They have just removed the disease-causing power of the virus. And that is what we call it as a weakened virus, also called as attenuated. So it is also called as attenuated or weakened live polio virus. That is what is fed to you. Okay, fine. So that's why they have developed a memory cell for the poliovirus. So when the poliovirus entered both Priya and Sukriti had a memory cell. They could be able to kill it, but Priya couldn't. That's why she suffered, which produce antibodies whenever pathogen enters her body. So A is the right answer. All right. So Sukriti had actually contracted the disease few months back and recovered. No, polio difficult to recover. All right. So that's why to develop the immunity, person has to take oral polio vaccine. Moving on to the next question, question number 44. Which of the following are Indian cattle? Bos indicus? Yes, it is an Indian cattle. It is called as Indian humped cattle. Okay, humped cattle, also called as humped cow. So that means we are talking about a cow scientific name here. Bos domesticus, there is no such scientific name as Bos domesticus. It is not a scientific name, okay? Not a scientific name yet. All right, yet. Now moving to the third, Bubalis, yes, it is buffalo. We call it as a buffalo. All right. So Bubalis is domestic water buffalo. All right. So we can call it as commonly a domestic water buffalo. Water buffalo. So this is right. Bos vulgaris, again, there is no such scientific name. It is also not a scientific name. So we have found that only 1 and 3 are correct. So option number A is absolutely fine. Moving on to the next question. Here we go. Question number 45. Let's see. Refer to the diagram showing organ X. So when you look at organ X, what do you see? Organ X here is an adrenal gland, isn't it? So this is an adrenal gland here. Let me write it here. It is an adrenal gland because you can see it is present on the anterior part of the kidney, on the kidney like a cap. On the top part of the kidney, we call it as anterior portion. So they're asking, organ X secretes two hormones, P and Q. Organ X, we know adrenal gland. So what is P and Q? P prepares our body to function at a maximum efficiency during emergency situation. That means they are talking about an emergency hormone, a stress hormone. So fear and fight hormone. So it can't be aldosterone, it can be adrenaline. Yes. Only one option. Why not insulin? Because insulin is produced by pancreas. It is secreted by pancreas and not secreted by the adrenal gland. All right. Thyroxine is also secreted by the thyroid gland and not by the adrenal gland. It is secreted by thyroid gland. All right. Aldosterone is secreted by the adrenal cortex part of the adrenal gland, but that doesn't help in emergency situation or maximum efficiency during emergency situation. What does it do? Q maintains the correct salt balance in the blood. So that is the function of aldosterone. So we found our answer. Option number B is absolutely correct. Okay. So what do you see here is whenever aldosterone, what does it do? In your nephron, suppose this is my nephron. Okay. This is the nephron and this is the PCT, the loop of Henle, then the DCT. You might have studied this already. All right. So this is the DCT, the distal convoluted tubule. So aldosterone, whenever it is necessary, aldosterone would ask the reabsorption of Na plus from here. From the DCT, Na plus is reabsorbed due to the presence of aldosterone. So conditional reabsorption takes place. Moving on to the next question, question number 46. Select the correct sequence of words to complete the given passage. The matrix of bone is in the form of thin concentric rings called as lamellae. We call it as lamellae. The word lamellae means layer. So what do you see? If you take, suppose this is the bone here, we have a bone. Okay, suppose this is the bone. And I have taken a small portion of the bone, a small cut of the bone, and I'm going to show you here. Okay, show you here. So let's imagine that this is the small part of the bone that I have taken out, a small part. So what you are going to see that the bone's matrix has these small lamellae, layers. One layer of lamellae, another layer of lamellae, another layer of lamellae. Similarly here as well, one layer of lamellae, another layer of lamellae, and so on. So these type of concentric circles can be found in bone's matrix, which you would not see in cartilage. So this is what you are going to see now. All right. Now see here. What did they say? Rest of the thing. Bone cells called osteocyte. Bone cells are called as osteocytes and they are present in the fluid-filled spaces called lacunae. Lacunae. So inside this, there are small such lacunae structures are present. Lacunae are present like this, and they are all connected to each other. The lacunae are small spaces and they are all connected to each other like this. Inside the lacunae, so this is the lacunae, let's imagine, and inside the lacunae, you would see these bone cells present. Okay, these are the osteocytes. These are the osteocytes. And osteocyte, through this lacunae interconnected channel, they are also connected to each other via canaliculi. Canaliculi. So these fluid-filled spaces of the bone communicate with each other. I told you, fine canals called as canaliculi. So canaliculi are these channels through which one lacunae is in contact with the adjacent one. And each lacunae hold one osteocyte. So osteocyte can also interact. All right. So we have found the answer already. Lamellae, osteocyte, lacunae, canaliculi. So this is the right answer. Why not osteoblast? Osteoblasts are present, but they're inactive as of now. So inactive, they were present when we were an embryo, they were active. Later they become inactive in an adult life. Okay. Moving on to question number 47. 7. Okay. Given below is a table and you have to carefully select the option that correctly fills up the blank P, Q, R and S. So they are saying disease, hepatitis, virus, symptom. Hepatitis symptom is of course that would lead to acute inflammation. What happens in hepatitis? The virus, because they are continuously attacking the hepatocytes, of course that area would become inflamed, and in later case there could be liver cirrhosis as well. The dead hepatocyte can be replaced by fibrous tissue. So it can also cause stiffness of the liver and can cause liver fibrosis and later liver cirrhosis. Okay, so virus, and of course I just said inflammation, so P is inflammation of the liver. Of course it can't be ulcer of stomach, like clearly they're talking about inflammation. Hepatitis means inflammation of the liver, hepatitis means inflammation, correct? Moving on to the next, elephantiasis. Elephantiasis is actually also called as filariasis. This is the other name of this disease, filariasis, and filariasis is caused by a type of pathogen which is called as Wuchereria bancrofti. Wuchereria bancrofti is a type of askelminth, and the askelminth would be passed to your body if at all a female Culex mosquito bites you. Okay, so this Q would be a worm. Yes, this worm I'm talking about is Wuchereria bancrofti. It's an askelminth, right? And Wuchereria bancrofti is an askelminth, is a worm. Bancrofti, it is a scientific name, so I would underline it. Then they are saying R, protozoan, fever, fatigue, enlargement of liver, spleen, etc. So of course kala azar. Otherwise, see, this can't be an answer because they are saying ulcer in the stomach. So first P is already gone. Painful contraction of muscle and throat, that is also gone. Hepatitis is not for muscle, right? Bacteria, then they are saying reduction in natural immunity. No, that is also not the case. So here kala azar is caused by a protozoa called as Leishmania. The name is Leishmania. Okay, Leishmania donovani. Leishmania donovani. This is the scientific name of the protozoa that causes kala azar, and that would be only passed. Again, it's a vector carrying disease, just like Wuchereria, which is carried by a vector called as Culex, female Culex mosquito. Similarly, this Leishmania causing kala azar is also carried via sandfly. It's a bite of sandfly would carry it to your body. So we already found our answer. A is going to be the right answer. Let's read the last as well. Ringworm. Of course, ringworm is caused by a fungus. The fungus could be microsporum. The fungus could be trichophyton, microsporum. Okay, epidermophyton, trichophyton, etc. So these are the fungus which causes the disease ringworm. Moving on to question number 48. 48, they are saying read the following statement A to C. So you have to read from A to C and select the option which correctly fills up the blanks in these statements. So A, they are saying an organism that transmits a disease from an infected person to a healthy person. So they're saying an organism who is transmitting a disease from a healthy to a from an infected to a healthy person. Of course, a vector, just like malaria, just like filariasis, just like kala azar. Okay, so this is again called as a vector. One is a vector. Poliomyelitis is a dash disease. That means they're talking about a virus disease. So this is going to be virus. Okay, and anthrax is a bacterial disease. Bacterial disease because it is caused by whom? It is caused by Bacillus anthracis. Okay, so we found vector, we found viral, we found bacterial, and allergic disease such as asthma is a non-communicable disease. Yes, if you have asthma and you have drink from a cup of a glass, and I am using the same glass to drink, or maybe I have used your towel, or I sat with you, you sneezed, I will not contract asthma from you because it's an allergic reaction. It is an exaggerated response of our immune system against harmless pathogen. In asthma, people can have allergic reaction to pollen, to dust particles. So pollen, dust, these are harmless antigens, right? So our immune system is showing an over-exaggerated response. So I cannot contract it from just by sitting with you or sharing the same towel or eating food from the same plate. We can't contract it like that, okay? So this is, asthma can be hereditary also, genetic as well sometimes. You know, there are underlying genetic effects as well for asthma. So it's an allergic reaction, over-exaggerated response of the immune system. So we have already found our answer, option number C for question number 48. Moving on to question number 49, and we are almost at the end. 50 questions are there. Refer to the given figures P, Q, R and answer the following question. So here you can see the male and female reproductive systems are given here, right? So if I see how do reproductive cells of P differ from those of Q. So how P is different from Q? P is of course representing a male reproductive system and Q is representing the female reproductive system. So let's see here in option number A, they have given their mode of production. By the way, we have to see that how they differ in terms of their production and modes of storage. So mature reproductive cells of P can get stored for a longer period in reproductive tract, whereas Q only immature reproductive cells remain stored. Let's see, P produced fewer reproductive cells? Absolutely not. The spermatozoa are produced in 200 to 300 million spermatozoa per ejaculation. Spermatozoa per ejaculation. And how many ova are produced? 1 secondary oocyte per month. So who is more? Of course, the sperms are more. So this can't be an answer, right? This can't be an answer. B can't be an answer. Then they are saying reproductive cells produced by P do not show motility. Of course it shows motility. Spermatozoa are motile. Sperms are motile. The haploid motile gamete. Eggs are not motile at all. That's why the spermatozoa has to be inseminated inside the female reproductive tract so that the male sperm can get inside the female reproductive tract and fertilize it. Moving on, D, Q produce reproductive cells for a longer period of longer period in an individual lifespan than P does. No, there is something called as menopause, right? The female undergoes menopause where the egg formation or secondary oocyte formation stops. But in case of male, it continues. It always continues, right? It can continue even in older ages. It can decline in number, but it would continue. So of course, this is also wrong. So the right answer is going to be only this. Yes, the mature reproductive cells of P can get stored for a longer period of time. The spermatozoa can get stored in epididymis for a longer period of time. But in case of female, the secondary oocyte has a lifespan of only your, once ovulated 24 hours. So immature cells, that means primary oocyte or in the follicular stage, they can remain. Right? All right. So question number 49 is done. Let's now discuss the last question for today. That is question number 50. Refer to the given table and select the option that correctly fills the blank in it. Okay, so cow, the animal cow, what is the indigenous breed and what is the exotic breed? So exotic breed is already given, Holstein Friesian. Holstein Friesian comes from North Holland. The Holstein comes from North Holland. North Holland is what we call it as a Netherlands, the present day Netherlands, the Netherlands country. Okay, and Friesian is of course Germany. Germany, the city in Germany. So this cow is an exotic breed, is found in Netherlands or Holland and in Germany. So indigenous breed among them, X is going to be Red Sindhi. Yes, Red Sindhi is an indigenous breed, right? Jersey, no. Jersey is not an indigenous breed. It is found in British Channel Island. Okay. In case of British Channel Island, that means of course in United Kingdom, in UK, you would get this. So it can't be an answer. X, here Sahiwal. Yes, Sahiwal is also an indigenous breed. Right, so you would find Red Sindhi is found in Hyderabad, Balochistan, Pakistan, but indigenous because it is also found in Hyderabad. Okay, again, indigenous is native. So in Pakistan, Balochistan, so that can also be seen in Punjab as well, right? That's because it is nearby. Moving on to the brown Swiss. Of course, brown Swiss, as the name suggests, they are from Switzerland, the Alps of Switzerland. So this can't be an indigenous breed. So we have already found two options. Now let's see. Poultry. A seal. Yes, a seal is an indigenous breed of, chicken or poultry. Exotic breed here, Busra, no. Busra is usually found in Maharashtra. So Maharashtra is in India, right? It can't be an exotic breed. Rhode Island red, yes, it is in America, but this can't be an answer, right? Because the X doesn't match. So I would opt out B and D. So B, even though this matches, but this won't be the answer because we have opted out. Australorp, yes, Australorp is found in Australia. They're native to Australia. That is correct. So we already found our answer. Option number C is the right answer here. Okay. Now let's see honeybee, indigenous breed here, dorsata, also called as rock bee. They're Indian rock bee, called as Indian rock bee, and the most dangerous type of bee. Their toxins, epitoxins, are highly dangerous. Okay, followed by A. Adamsoni. Yes, that is an exotic breed. So we have found the answer, option number C. So these were all the questions that we had to discuss for today's Olympiad Marathon number 2. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you found all the answers. You could do it along with me, right? So I'm going to meet you all again with another marathon soon. By then, please take care of your health, stay safe, and see you all soon.